So it's 1 o'clock. We'll get the meeting going. I ask people to please enter your name and job title and the organization that you represent in the chat so we can know who's here. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm John Thompson. I'm the Catskill Regional Invasive Species Partnership Director, and welcome to the CRISP Spring Partnership meeting. You should be seeing the agenda in front of you. Please, as I said, introduce yourself in the chat so that we know who's here. And also please mute yourself, as feedback and background noise can interfere with others who are speaking. Closed captioning is available on the bottom of your screen. And as you can see from the agenda, I'll give some updates for CRISP. Jody Hogan from the North American Invasive Species Management Association will give a presentation on NASMA Certified Weed-Free Program. We'll have updates from the CRISP working groups, and partners will be giving updates and sharing announcements for the upcoming season. And I think some people will be sharing their screens at that point. So I wanted to start with giving an overview of what we did last year. Change slides. The CRISP 2025 annual report is complete now, and it's posted on our website. I'll give highlights that are in that report, but I'll encourage you to download it and read it over to get details of exactly what we did last year. And I just want to say our team worked really hard. Really proud of the work that we did last year within the CRISP staff and our partners. A lot was accomplished, and we hope to continue that work into 2026 and hopefully beyond. We had a really successful year in 2025. We surveyed 2,920 acres of water bodies and uplands. We treated another or 189 acres of that for invasive species. A number of new infestations of CRISP Tier 2 species were found during the year, including infestations of freshwater golden clams, mile-minute vine, yellow groove bamboo, and Japanese honeysuckle. Beach leaf disease nematode was documented in Schoharie County for the first time last year. So BLD is now found in all 7 of the CRISP counties. We purchased an eDNA sampler, and Sarah Coney, our aquatic invasive species manager, started collecting samples in the Hudson, Delaware, and Upper Susquehanna watersheds. Samples were sent to the Cornell Core facility to be analyzed using the eDNA multiplex. In 2025, in total, CRISP and its partners led 82 programs for 160,340 people. Most of those people were seen by Cornell Cooperative Extension, one of our partners. So we're really thankful for them for going to the fairs and festivals that they attended last year. CRISP staff, within our own small staff, we led 51 outreach events for 1,271 people. Of those programs, we had 22 trainings for 94 people, 18 IMAP invasives trainings for 84 community scientists. So we got a lot of outreach done last year, reached a lot of people. We also, I should mention, Dan Snyder-Nerp did some habitat suitability modeling, and I'm sure he'll be building on that into the future to look at different habitats within the CRISP region and see which ones are vulnerable to certain invasive species. To augment spread prevention efforts, the Catskill Center and CRISP built boot brush stations, and CRISP surveyed invasive species prevention zones. 4 boot brush stations were constructed during the year to slow the spread of invasives along trails. 2 boot brush stations were built along the Ashokan Rail Trail and 2 at DEC trailheads. CRISP staff surveyed 508 acres of invasive species prevention zones, and those are high-value conservation areas that generally lack invasive species. We found our first infestation of an invasive species in a ISPZ last year. It was a small infestation of coltsfoot along the Spruceton Road Trail access to Hunter Mountain, and we hope to work with DEC to manage that infestation this year. Sammy Delaney was hired as the volunteer coordinator on January 7th, and during the year, 171 people volunteered for CRISP and donated 465 hours. Both of those numbers are increases over 2024, so good job, Sammy. The Conedrago Lake Improvement Association and the Waterfall Center for Bioregional Learning signed the CRISP Cooperation Agreement in 2025 to become CRISP partners. And in 2026, so far, we've had the Hortus Arboretum and Botanical Garden join. And welcome to all of you. We now have 17 organizations that have signed agreements as partners. If your organization hasn't joined as a CRISP partner, you can find information on our cooperation agreement on the CRISP website. One subcontract was awarded through the CRISP 2025 request for proposals. Last year, Otsego County Conservation Association, their project was Otsego County Aquatic Invasives Rapid Response Team. We had 2 mini grants that were offered through the Cornell Cooperative Extension, Columbia and Greene counties. One was awarded to the CRISP Watershed Stewards Program, and the other to the Lake Association of White Lake. So we expect that those will be offered again this year. And for more details, as I mentioned, about 2025 and what we do at CRISP, you can download our annual report from our website. So moving on to what we're doing now, just with the slide, and can introduce you to all our staff. There's contact information there, and I encourage everyone to reach out whenever you have questions or you have programs that we could work on together. Please send us an email or give us a call to chat about that. In 2026, I just wanted to remind everyone that last month at the PRISM monthly webinar, there was a presentation by Jonathan Rosenthal. It was on lingering ash sign collection, and we've posted that on our website under recordings and presentations. So if you missed that presentation, or if you'd like to see it again, you can find that on our website. We've filled 2 of the 4 CRISP strike team positions for this summer. Positions will be performing early detection and rapid response starting in June and run through the middle of August. We're still accepting applications, but we're not advertising for it anymore. We have a huge amount of response, and which is great. We have some really good candidates. Also wanted to mention that the Catskill Center received a 2025 Chesapeake Watershed Investments for Landscape Defense grant and has hired a combined steward and eDNA technician position to perform eDNA sampling throughout the Upper Susquehanna watershed. So that will be in both the CRISP regions and the Finger Lakes region. They'll be using that eDNA sampler that I mentioned before. The CRISP or the Catskill Center has also has a DEC invasive species grant from round 3, and that grant focuses on spread prevention and includes building 20 boot brush stations at trailheads to slow the spread of invasives. We're training master forest owners on spread prevention to share with landowners during site visits. Public programs have been done in disadvantaged communities to help raise awareness about invasive species and to stop their spread. Burn it where you buy it signs are being given to private campgrounds throughout the Catskills to source firewood locally and prevent the spread of forest pests and pathogens. And Angela Cross, the Catskill Center naturalist, is working on that project. And just to mention some upcoming events, I know I saw Carolyn Summers on the call here, but Sarah Coney will be at the Spring Gardening Day, which is going to be on Saturday in Hudson. She'll be at a Crisp Catskill Center table, so please stop by if you're there. Chat with Sarah. You could get some more information about invasive species and talk to her about what she's doing this year and what we're doing at Crisp. On Sunday, then, I'll be leading a forest history walk and invasive pull at the Ashokan Rail Trail. That's one of the volunteer opportunities that we have there this year. Each of the events at the Ashokan Rail Trail will have a theme, and we've added those and other programs to our events page on our website, or we'll be adding them. So please take a look at that webpage for upcoming CRISP programs. And I think we'll have more opportunities for volunteers this year. Sarah worked with the Lake Association of White Lake last year to start a lake survey program. She'll be working with other lake associations this year. Please reach out to Sarah if that's something your lake association or your group would like to become involved with. We're hoping to do volunteer surveys on DEC campgrounds. We have a list of target species, and Dan has been talking to DC, and we're hoping we can arrange that we can have volunteers out looking for these target invasives, and perhaps helping us to manage them on DEC campgrounds. And we will continue to do invasive species prevention zone surveys, and we're hoping to have volunteers participate in trail surveys that go through those areas. And just want to remind everyone that the 2026 New York Invasive Species Awareness Week is June 8th through the 14th this year. And during that week, we'll be doing a number of things, including the Forest and Water Awareness Week in Delhi. We're doing a frog bit pull with OCCA, and we'll be wrapping up the season's native tree planting at the Ashokan Rail Trail during that week. If you have any ideas for invasive species awareness week programs that you'd like to do with us, just reach out, as I mentioned before, and we'd be happy to work with you on those. And also wanted to just mention that we're planning on repeating the early career development workshop on July 17th. And we're planning that, and Meredith might talk about this a little bit more, but we're planning that our partner meeting will be in the morning. It will be focused on early career development to some degree. Hopefully we'll have opportunities for invasive species managers to interact with people that might be early in their careers, to chat with them about what their organizations are doing and what opportunities there will be in the future. And then I want to go back to the previous slide just to get back to the agenda. I'll move on to the next item in our agenda, which is the CRISP 2026 Request for Proposals Award. We received 7 proposals that totaled over $98,000 for our CRISP 2026 RFP, and we had some really good applications come in. And thanks to all of the organizations that applied, we had a difficult selection, but we selected the Otsego County Conservation Association for its proposal, South Otsego County Aquatic and Terrestrial Invasive Species Rapid Response and Control. That project will focus on CRISP Tier 2 species, including European frogbit, yellow floating heart, and pale swallowwort. So congrats to OCCA on receiving the award, and we look forward to working with them on this project this year. And I saw that Jeff's on. So good job, Jeff, on your proposal. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And if you wanted to start sharing, Jody, your screen. We'll, I'm not looking at the agenda. Actually, I was going to have Meredith. Did you want to say something before we get started with Jody and I introduce her? Meredith, do you want to say something about our construction working group?
Sure. Just to give a little background on how we came to be interested in this presentation, we've had a construction working group for the past 2 winters looking into different mechanisms we have to reduce the spread of invasive species through construction projects, large and small scale, that are happening throughout the CRISP region. And so we have really focused in on the Certified Weed-Free Products program as a potential avenue to reduce the spread of invasives. We've seen a number of projects where particularly gravel that has been containing invasive weed seeds has led to the spread of different species throughout the region. And so this is one of our top priorities for the working group, to find a way to address that pathway. And so we're super excited to have Jody here to talk about the program, and we're hoping to use this as a jumping off point to pursue participation for at least parts of the CRISP region in developing a certified weed-free products program moving forward. If anyone's really interested in getting involved in that, please feel free to reach out. We would be happy to have more participants in our working group and more interest in this program. So I'll leave it at that and let Jody take it away.
Yeah, I'll give Jody a little introduction first. Thanks, Meredith. So I'm happy to introduce Jody Hogan. Jody will be presenting NASMA Certified Weed-Free Products Program, Protecting Lands, Strengthening Markets, Limit the Spread of Invasive Species. Jody serves as a North American Invasive Species Management Programs Assistant, bringing a versatile background in administrative leadership, policy development, and multi-program coordination. She plays a key role in advancing NASMA's weed-free products program, supporting certification consistency, inspector engagement, and program growth across jurisdictions. So welcome, Jody, and please go ahead with your presentation. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for having us today. We're excited to be able to talk about this with this group.
Great.
So, as you know, invasive species are relentless travelers hitchhiking rides on any material they come into contact with. Their movement is often accelerated through transportation pathways, and without proper oversight, they establish quickly, outcompete native plants, and disrupt entire ecosystems. NASMA's Certified Weed-Free Products Program is a non-regulatory, science-driven system that sets clear standards to ensure materials such as forage and hay, mulch, compost, and gravel are free of invasive plant species listed on the NASMA prohibited weed list. The program delivers value across sectors. Land managers reduce the risk of invasive plant introduction and avoid costly remediation. Industry partners, from agriculture producers to suppliers and construction firms, gain reliable, compliant materials that strengthen product quality, marketability, and sustainable business practices. By adopting NASMA standards, stakeholders can use these materials with confidence, safeguarding both environmental integrity and economic interests. In 1993, NASMA was founded as a grassroots initiative by county and state land managers in the western states. They recognized an urgent need for a unified approach to controlling noxious weeds across jurisdictional boundaries. At the time, invasive plant species were rapidly spreading across state and federal lands, threatening agriculture and critical natural resources. Despite these growing challenges, there was no continent-wide cooperative program to address weed management across different regions. So federal and state agencies also lack standardized protocols for certifying weed-free products. To address these challenges, land managers from multiple jurisdictions in the West collaborated to develop and agreed upon standards for invasive terrestrial plant species control. This led to the launch of the Weed-Free Forage Program, which provided certification guidelines, inspection protocols, and transportation guidelines. And the Weed-Free Products Program began with a strong focus on forage, recognizing it as a major transportation pathway for noxious weeds. Over time, the program expanded to include gravel, mulch, and compost, broadening its impact on land management and environmental protection. The North American Invasive Species Management Association oversees the Weed-Free Products Program in collaboration with the committee. The committee is a volunteer-led group dedicated to advancing program implementation. It plays a key role in developing and refining certification standards, advising on its inspection protocols, and providing essential support to program partners, inspectors, producers, and consumers. Comprised of engaged NASMA members, co-chairs, NASMA staff, and board representatives, the committee works to maintain program consistency, address stakeholder concerns, and enhance the effectiveness of the weed-free certification. As a structural and administrative backbone of the weed-free product program, NASMA ensures the effective implementation of long-term sustainability. By hosting the training platform, NASMA supports the committee inspectors with the knowledge and tools needed to uphold the weed-free protocols. Meanwhile, the program partners, or you also hear me refer to you as MOU holders, include government entities, industry organizations, and other key stakeholders, and are essential to effective implementation. Their contributions include managing inspectors, conducting inspections, certifying products, advancing weed-free practices within their spheres, and driving broader market acceptance. So why become a partner or an MOU holder? So joining NASMA's Weed-Free Products program begins with confirming that your organization has the authority to oversee noxious weed management within your jurisdiction. Once that's established, the onboarding process is pretty straightforward. So different examples of partners include state departments of agriculture, county weed programs, university extension offices, and crop or seed certification agencies. And we can also take other agencies approved by NASMA. So you have to determine your program scope. Each state or county can focus on the products most relevant to its operations while aligning with NASMA standards. Once you sign the program or the MOU, this formalizes your participation and outlines your commitment to NASMA's certification network. After the agreement is executed, your organization can designate inspectors, complete trainings, and integrate certification procedures into your workflow. Once the MOU is in place, your organization becomes an active partner in the Weed-Free Products program. And the ongoing responsibilities for these partners include maintaining an active status by paying the $100 annual participation fee, adhering to NASMA's minimal standards to ensure inspections and certifications are consistent across jurisdictions, designating inspectors, either internal staff or qualified private individuals to operate under your MOU, manage the inspection activities, including scheduling inspections, record keeping, ensuring that inspectors are following the established protocols, supporting outreach and coordination through education, promotion of certified products, policy engagement, and collaboration within neighboring partners. And then you will also gain access to the membership portal to include links to toolkits we have, inspector lists, and receive automated renewal reminders. So the Weed-Free Products program is a growing network. Right now, it includes 28 partners across 28 states and 1 Canadian province, creating coordinated continent-wide system for preventing the spread of invasive species through certified materials. In addition to state-level partners, we have 9 county participants through MOUs held under their respective states, expanding the program's reach to the local level. So program administration varies by jurisdiction. Different organizations can hold MOUs for different product types. For example, Michigan, the Michigan Crop Improvement Association holds the MOU for forage, while the Michigan Department of Agriculture holds the MOU for mulch, gravel, and compost. In Idaho, the Department of Agriculture oversees forage, but individual counties hold MOUs for gravel, mulch, and compost. And then in California, all the counties are responsible for holding MOUs for all product types. They don't have a state MOU for anything. So As I mentioned, the program partners designate inspectors under their MOU to conduct weed-free product certifications. These inspectors, like I mentioned too, again, are typically staff from the departments or agencies, and then they complete NASMA's weed-free products online inspector training program. The training program is a structured, in-depth curriculum that prepares inspectors to carry out certifications correctly and consistently. When they enroll, each inspector has to select the MOU they work under. And then the course will walk them through the minimum standards and guidelines for each product type, outlines inspection procedures, explains proper certification and documentation protocols, and a dedicated module that covers all 56 invasive species on the NASMA and NASMA prohibited weed list, ensuring inspectors can accurately identify prohibited species across different materials and regions. On average, this course takes about 4 hours to complete if you're doing all the products. You can start and stop whenever and leave where you left off. You don't need to do this all at one time. But throughout the training, inspectors complete knowledge checks that reinforce key concepts and support consistent application in the field. Only individuals who successfully complete the course are authorized to certify products. After completion, an email is sent to the MOU holder, the inspector, and is added to the membership profile of the MOU holder so you can track and always see who is active and listed working under your MOU. This certification is good for 2 years and is at a $40 fee. To initiate the certification process, a producer contacts their local program partner or MOU holder to schedule the inspection. During the inspection, the designated inspector evaluates the product to determine whether it meets NASMA's weed-free standards. If the product passes, the inspector issues a certification tag and/or tags and documentation depending on which product you're certifying. And then that must be retained as proof of compliance. So you can see up here, this is since gravel is kind of the big interest here, that's an inspection certificate of gravel. And I'm kind of just going to go through a little bit of it, and some of these things that I won't mention that are exactly on here. Each inspection form has unique aspects, obviously, but things that are required are designated authority or the inspector's contact information, the inspector certificate numbering system, which you'll get when you receive your inspector certificate from NASMA. The responsible party contact information, the legal description of their property being inspected, the number of acres or hectares inspected, and then the statement that meets North American Invasive Species Management Association standard statement, the inspection date, designated authority or inspector signature. We always have a comment section, then the meets or not meets requirements, and then the certification termination date, which is usually 1 year from the date of inspection. So these forms were all before, paper forms. We have recently added online digital forms to streamline the submissions that enable real-time verification and integrate seamlessly with existing databases. Some MOUs have done their own online forms too, which is completely fine as long as, like I listed, those you have the minimum requirements that we're asking for. You can kind of do up your own forms like that. When these online forms now that we just added, forms automatically get sent to the MOU holder, and then obviously the inspector that filled it out, NASMA will get a copy, and then you're able to send it to the producer. And you can see at the bottom, each inspection form also has a disclaimer listed on it. And then so a lot of questions that we get asked are about inspection fees. So NASMA does not implement any inspection fees. This is under the discretion of the MOU holder and their federal, state, or local regulation. So that is all done by anything that you guys have to do for that. Some states there's no fees. Some have minimal fees. Some are higher depending on travel and things like that to different locations. If the product does not meet certification criteria, the inspector consults with the producer to identify any areas of non-compliance and then discuss the possible corrective actions and determine whether a reinspection would be needed. So the weed-free products program encompasses various materials, like I mentioned before, including forage, gravel, mulch, and compost. Each standard has a general set of provisions, guidelines, definitions, and required documentation, inspection criteria tailored to each specific characteristics and applications of each product. So key components of the minimum standards include definitions to establish clear, standardized terms and consistency across participating jurisdictions. The minimum requirements for certification outline the essential criteria a product must meet to officially be recognized as weed-free, ensuring consistent compliance and effective prevention of invasive species spread. And as I kind of mentioned earlier, so the NASMA prohibited weed list currently includes 56 invasive species, each selected through a rigorous evaluation process to ensure comprehensive protection against their spread. A panel of experts, land managers, and regulatory authorities carefully assess these species, considering both their current impact and potential risk across multiple states and jurisdictions. While individual states and regions may implement additional mitigation strategies tailored to their local and state lists, adherence to the NASMA prohibited weed list is mandatory for certification. Certified weed-free products must undergo inspections, ensuring they are free from all 56 species at the time of certification. Maintaining strict compliance helps prevent the unintentional transport of invasive plants across state lines and reducing the likelihood of new infestations in vulnerable ecosystems. There is a process to petition to add or remove a species from this list. Updates to prohibited weed list are based on emerging threats, scientific findings, and regional considerations brought to the committee by MOU holders. So changes to the prohibited weed list follow a formal science-based petition process to ensure the list remains accurate, defensible, and aligned with current invasive species risks. Any request to add or delete a species must be submitted by an MOU holder and must include a complete risk assessment. For additions, the petition must document the species' potential and demonstrated impacts on natural resources and the state, provincial, and regional level. For deletions, the petition must explain why the species is no longer considered a potential threat. And then there's a whole system that it goes through. So these petitions must be submitted to the committee at least 90 days before NASMA's annual general meeting, which happens in October. The co-chairs then distribute the petition to the committee members and MOU holders 60 days prior to that annual general meeting for review. The Weed-Free Products Committee then evaluates the evidence and develops recommendations to support or deny the petition, which is then voted on by the MOU holders, each holding one vote with proxy voting allowed. A simple majority vote moves the recommendation forward to the NASMA Board of Directors for consideration ahead of the annual general meeting. And if the board supports the recommendation, the change is presented at the annual general meeting. And then Appendix A, which is the prohibited weed list, is updated accordingly. So this process ensures that all additions or deletions are transparent, evidence-driven, and supported by the program partners responsible for implementing these weed-free certifications across North America. These processes can be found listed in each product standard document. So now let's jump into kind of a quick overview of the gravel program. Some of this will echo what I've already covered, but I want you to all be able to walk through kind of a full inspection process from start to finish so you can see kind of how everything fits together. So gravel pits are one of the highest risk pathways for spreading invasive plants because material is consistently being excavated, stockpiled, and transported. As a result, weed-free gravel is increasingly being required on state and federal projects to meet compliance standards. Over the past 6 to 12 months, we've seen a significant rise in inquiries from contractors and agencies seeking certified gravel, driven largely by these specifications that are now being mandated to have weed-free gravel. So I had talked about each minimum standard has a list of definitions. So per NASMA standards, gravel by definition is small stones or pebbles or a mixture of these with sand, stone, and gravel, as well as recycled concrete and asphalt materials. And like I had, again, so some of this is going to echo what I've said before. So how do you start getting a request for certification? So that the producer or supplier or project partners contact their state or county MOU holder to request a read-free inspection. The MOU holder confirms eligibility requirements and then schedules the inspection. And then so then the inspection process, the inspectors evaluate the pit stockpiles and processing areas and transport routes. So to get a little bit more in depth on this, so once on site, the inspectors trained under the NASMA standards conduct a comprehensive evaluation of the entire pit environment. So this includes gravel pits, borrow sites, stockpiles, processing areas, surrounding ditches, topsoil piles, the gravel and sand piles, fence rows, roads, easements, storage areas, and transportation routes. Inspectors look for any of the listed invasive weeds or plant parts on the NASMA prohibited weed list, assess contamination risk from adjacent vegetation, and check equipment tracks and handling areas to ensure plant material is not being moved from one location to another. Program standards guide both inspectors and pit operators. These include maintaining weed-free buffer zones around stockpiles following required inspection frequencies. Typically, it's once per year under NASMA standards, with some states opting for additional inspections and taking corrective actions such as weed removal, treatment, or reinspection when issues are found. The standardized inspection form ensure every site is evaluated consistently regarding the size or jurisdiction. When all requirements are met, the final material is certified as weed-free and can be sold or transported with confidence across jurisdictions. And this certificate is then issued. So weed-free gravel and all weed-free products play a critical role preventing the spread of invasive plant species across landscapes. Construction sites, restoration projects, and transportation routes often disturb soil and create ideal conditions for invasive plants to establish when gravel, mulch, compost, forage, or other materials are contaminated, and they can unintentionally introduce invasive species to new areas, accelerating their spread far beyond the original source. Using certified materials helps land managers, contractors, and agencies avoid these risks by ensuring that products they rely on are clean and compliant and consistent prevention standards. This reduces the long-term management costs, protects sensitive habitats, and regulatory and product requirements. Weed-free products also strengthen cross-jurisdictional coordination. Materials can move across county or state lines with confidence that they will be meet the recognized standard. Ultimately, certification provides a proactive science-based standard that protects native ecosystems, supports biodiversity, and reduces the ecological and economic impacts associated with invasive species. So one thing that we've been working hard on the last 3 years was NASMA was awarded funding from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service through the Infrastructure Investment barriers to consistent program implementation across the nation. So through this funding, we're working on expanding the program through tools to help guide our program and partner and participants. So one thing that so a lot of these toolkits are in their final stages, and we will be releasing all of this in June. But we have been working on free professional turnkey toolkits for program and so there's groups for just partners, just inspectors, producers, and consumers. But one of the big things that we did was a prohibited weed ID booklet, which is a visual guide to help inspectors and stakeholders easily identify the species listed on the NASMA list. As you can see, the plumbless thistle, that's kind of one of the pages. Has links and stuff to additional videos and things like that. We've done some brochures, so you can see the middle image there is just a sample of one of the brochures. We have infographics, which is the other image there on the left. And then we'll have social media templates, and then we've improved our product marking. So for forage, we use twine that is orange and blue. But then we're also kind of creating like stickers and things like that, and then a universal forage tag. for that. So we don't really have individual product markings necessarily for gravel, mulch, and compost because it's more so, you know, big bulk orders. It's not the smaller bales and things like that. But all these toolkits and everything, all this marketing material are customized, will be co-branded, so you can tailor documents, add your logos and marketing assets to allow MOU holders, state agencies, and industry associations to integrate their branding with the NASMA certification network. We have also updated our online directory, which I'm gonna try to bring up here if it'll let me. But this online directly is a streamless cross-jurisdictional communication that helps users identify appropriate state, county, or federal agency responsibility for issuing weed-free certification and serving as the primary point of contact on information where certified producers can be purchased, transported, or distributed. By making certification contacts and related data easily accessible, the directory supports efficient coordination among participants. So you can kind of see this is just a little blurb about what the weed-free directory is, why use it, and then down here, this lists all of our MOU holders. So you can go and it gives you who it is, the contact, and then there's a link to learn more about the products on their site. So, see if I can. So, and then this model legal law here will be released in June, but we worked with the National Sea Grant Law Center to complete a comprehensive legal compilation and gap analysis for the weed-free products program. So this effort produced model state laws establishing program authority, model regulations for program implementation, template partner agreements, and roadmaps to identify priorities in states where program development or expansion would have the greatest impact. States vary widely. Some already operate strong weed-free certification programs. Others have partial frameworks that need refinement, and some have no programs at all. So this assessment allowed us to define what like a gold standard for implementation looks like, and to pinpoint where support is most urgently needed. The completed analysis advances our broader goal of harmonizing states, not just weed laws, and refining barriers to adopting this non-regulatory program. As we finalize the remaining parts of this, we will publish the template language and related sources on the website to support in building and strengthening their programs. So I'll just give you, again, kind of, well, maybe it's not going to let me. Okay, so like I said, what this does is it kind of just gives a brief overview of all the different aspects of the program. And I can share this with John and he can share that model legal law for people to take a look at if you're interested. But really our commitment to continuous improvement. So NASMA continually is seeking to strengthen the weed-free products program, ensuring verification methods evolve to meet industry demands and technological advancements. By providing professionally develop resources, NASMA is promoting widespread adoption, creating the scalable framework that industry partners can easily implement. This not only increases access to weed-free certified products, but also can boost consumer confidence and sustainable land management. And with that, does anybody have any questions? So these are kind of just, again, some different samples of, you know, we have a university here, Department of Agriculture, North Carolina Crop Improvement, Weed Association, Division of Agriculture, you know, different, and then the county. So we're open to working with anybody. We want this program to be available to anybody. So, you know, any questions or anything, we're happy to try to work with people to get them in this program. And then there's my contact information too. So feel free to reach out to me with any additional questions, or if you would like anything, it's assistant@nasma.org, or you can go to nasma.org and go to the weed free products program tab on there, and it gives you, we have, actually, let me see if this will let me pull it up and I'll show you. So we have we just revamped our website, and we do have product pages for forage, gravel, mulch, compost. So you can go to programs and weed-free products. So here, this is kind of why weed-free forage and who uses it and the benefits. And then we do have, find a program partner that links to the database, how certification works, the guidelines, and then here's some other resources, that takes you, and then you can also go to the other pages from here too. So you'll see, so like the brochures and everything, if I scroll back down to where all that was listed. So like the resources.
Jody,
So,
we're just seeing your question slide. I don't know
darn
if
it.
you're online or something, but we're not seeing it.
Oh, let me. Well, let me see if I can share this real quick because it would be beneficial for you to see.
Great.
Okay, here, so this is, so let me kind of go back to the top
Okay,
here.
there we go. Thank you.
So I went to programs, then weed-free products, and on the NASMA website, and then so this lists out everything here. But yeah, so it goes through why, who uses it, the benefits, what products we cover, and then this is where again you can find links to the database. Again, explains how certification works, other resources for the gravel, and then this eventually will have those other toolkit links and brochures up here. But some of those, like the weed-free, the ID booklet, that'll be behind is just for MOU holders and inspectors. That won't be posted on the website, but if you have an MOU with us, you'll be able to link to that and get that through your membership portal. So. All right. So I'll open it up to any questions. And I think I have a few committee members and co-chairs on here too. So if anybody has any questions that I can't answer, hopefully they'll be able to chime in.
Well, thank you so much for the information, Jody. We really
Yes.
appreciate it. Yeah, if anybody has any questions or they want to add to what Jody has said for any feedback.
I have a quick question. We've gotten some questions to us about this idea of participating in the program about whether or not it will drive up cost and how much. Do you have examples of what kind of added cost being a certified weed-free product has given to products like gravel?
Andrea, if you are on, since you kind of deal with more of the gravel stuff, do you know if you could answer that?
Yeah, Jody. Unfortunately, there's not a great answer because it really depends on each individual company and site. A lot of it depends on the jurisdiction providing the inspections and whether or not they charge and how much. In Nevada, we do charge. We try to keep the costs down. And so for most of our sites, they tend to be a little bit on the larger side. The cost is not an issue for them to actually pay for the inspection. A few of the smaller mom and pop ones, they get a little antsy about it sometimes, but typically we're able to give them a good enough rate that it works out fine. But we don't get involved whatsoever with how much they then choose to turn around and market their product for. It definitely makes them more competitive in the bid process because they have the opportunity to go after jobs that not everyone can if they don't have certified products. But whether or not these companies then charge a premium for that or how they handle that is something that's up to them and their marketability and what they think they can get. So I don't unfortunately have any numbers there, but we haven't really had any cost complaints in Nevada, and people do seem to like the expanded market access that it gives them.
Thank you.
Sarah?
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. So for like states and even counties that like participate in the program on like that scale, a statewide scale or a countywide scale, how does that work when, and maybe it's different, it probably differs from state to state, but at least here, I feel like most of like the gravel and fill is managed by private companies. So like, how does the state kind of decide that and then enforce that and work with the companies to make sure that they're participating? Like, can you explain how that's happened?
Andrea, I'm going to throw this one back at you.
You're all good, Jody. Just to warn you, I'm going to hit a tiny dead zone for a minute here. If I drop off, I'll come right back. So sorry if that happens. In Nevada, again, speaking from that side of things, weed free is voluntary, so we cannot require it. But where it is required is, again, for certain types of jobs. So if they want to be able to provide material to those jobs, then they have to reach out, be in contact with us, and do what we ask to be in good standing with the program. We do outreach as much as possible to try to advertise and let companies know that, hey, we are available to provide these inspections. And then typically we get a lot of last minute contact from these companies saying, oh my gosh, I just realized I got this bid and now I know I need to be certified and I'm not yet. What do I do? Please help. So we try to be pretty flexible with companies. And if they do have weed issues, we will work with them on a mitigation plan that will get them to be compliant from our side of things and is hopefully not cost prohibitive from their side of things. We work with, I think, 100% private companies in our program right now. We are trying to get our DOT pits to come online, but that's been a little bit trickier with figuring out the cost because they're not privately run and not making a profit selling the materials.
So it kind of sounds like it would have to come from the top down, like a company or like an agency would have to write it into a contract or something, like we're requiring that the material be weed free. And then the different companies that would want to bid on that would need to have the certification, I guess, in this structure.
Correct. And that's what we're seeing right now is companies are starting to write that into their bids.
Great. No, that's really helpful to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Comments?
Otherwise, John, I don't know, would it be helpful if I sent you to just like the standards for gravel, like the MOU, just so people can have those documents to review and look through and you can share it with the group?
Sure. Yeah, I can
Okay.
share it in our email list and on the
Okay. And
listserv.
I
Naya
will. Okay.
is raising her hand. She has a question. Naya?
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't find the hand button on Zoom. I guess I was just wondering how often you have, like, I don't know what the right term is, like recidivism. You know, how often do you have a certified weed-free company that then falls off the wagon or delivers it and then turns out it has weeds, and what's the process for, dealing with that?
So we really haven't had any issues come up. And when they have, I don't know if Andrea can talk or Bill can talk to any more of that. The state has been able to dissolve it themselves. I mean, with the inspection form and everything, you know, that's what's signing it. It's saying we were inspected for this. So now, and that's just those 56 species listed on NASMA's list. Now, you guys can go above and beyond and add your other, because I know each state has different lists that goes above and beyond that. But I know Nebraska had some issues with that, but then it was found that that inspector wasn't actually, we could prove that he wasn't still certified as a NASMA inspector. He had let his lapse. And so, that did not go back on the state or NASMA or anything for that. Does that kind of answer your question? We've just been lucky as a program that we haven't had any of those major issues.
I can give a North Carolina perspective. In North Carolina, we are also, is run by the Crop Improvement Association. So certification is completely voluntary, much like Andrea said. And when you find a producer or certifier that has not lived up to the standards, we would first of all attempt to talk to them and have them make restitution to the seller. Like try to educate first, and then if that doesn't work, you have to kick them out of the or out of the MOU agreement. So that's how we dealt with it, and it hadn't happened, but that's how we would, much like seed certification. So except seed certification has some legal ramifications behind it. So, but if you were a state agency, you would have it in the statutes how to, it all depends on how it's set up. Let's put it that way.
And this is something we're working towards with, because before we would just have to go search our membership system to try to pull who is an inspector and do that. And so now with having our new membership portal and having those MOU holders, and everybody that signs up under your MOU holder is going to be listed. So you're going to know to who's working under you. You know, if somebody tries to sign up under your MOU that you don't know, you're going to get a notification that this person signed up, and you're going to say, I don't know who you are. And you're going to let NASMA know this person, you know, isn't certified. And you're going to be able to just go in and double check and run those reports. And two, we'll be able to have all those inspection forms that you're filling out are going to be in the one portal too. So you'll be able to have, it's just a better tracking system than what we've had in the past, where everything falls on just the MOU holder. But NASMA is trying to have a backup with all of that too, because there's turnover for, you know, for organizations too. And that's what we've been seeing. And then people don't know who their inspectors are because that predecessor didn't leave a list of that and everything. So we're really trying to work on that, and always open to thoughts and ways to improve that if anybody has any.
Jody, I'll add one more thing to that quickly, if I may. I totally agree with what Bill said. We also have not had any issues with that in Nevada. We do have some language where a first offense from a producer, other than making them correct it, if it is something serious enough, we can revoke their certification and we'll kick them out of the program for a year and then give them a chance to come back after that if they have done what they needed to do. And then beyond that, we do have it written that we can just completely remove them from eligibility moving forward. Again, we haven't had any issues with anyone, but the other protection is in the standards themselves, where it describes the inspection as being visually prudent. So you can only see what you can see when you're out there. Weeds can blow in the day after you leave, unfortunately, and we do recognize that. So the inspection is based on the site itself at the time you see it, their best management practices being in place and being discussed and agreed upon with the inspector. But, you know, if strange circumstances happen, that, again, term of visually prudent is there to kind of provide that protection.
Meredith?
One more question. So there is a minimum number of inspections that a certifier must complete per year. Can you talk a little bit about that and the time commitment that's involved with becoming someone who can do certifications?
Yep. So are you just okay? So are you speaking to like actually becoming an inspector or once?
Yeah.
So yep. So that happens once every 2 years. So the certification itself is good for 2 years with a $40 fee. And if you're looking, so like if your MOU just covers gravel, you're probably looking about an hour and a half, 2 hours to get that certification, to go through the course and the training. The full course with all of the products is about 4 to 5 hours.
And how many inspections would an inspector have to do?
So there's no minimum that they have to do. So you could do one in those 2 years. It kind of that is all based on your state and who is needing inspections. And sometimes, you know, people will see a surge and then, you know, the next year it won't be as many. So that there's no actual minimum. The minimum inspections I was talking about before is like the gravel pit itself. So some states will have, you know, it's that you have to be inspected twice a year. Per the NASMA standards, it's just one time a year.
Okay.
We still have 15 minutes for discussion, for comments, for questions. I appreciate the great questions that are coming in.
Hey, Jody, I'd like to add, now those are a minimum number of inspections. There's no reason an agency couldn't require more, you know, and you'd have to adapt it to your environment, like high rainfall environments may require 2 or something, or 1 in the spring, 1 in the fall. So just, I wanted to point that out. you're restricted to a minimum number, but you can still exceed that.
Yes, thanks, Bill, for that clarification.
Naya?
Well, if there's time for questions, I have more.
Great.
I guess I was wondering how long you have found the process to become the, the state agency, weed-free agency. How long does that all take?
So it really depends kind of on the state agency. So we've had some, within a couple days. It depends on the approval from the state that they need to, it needs to go through. So I've had somebody take up to almost a year for it to get approved, but I would say for the most part, it happens within a month of that. Even if that, I'd say it's more like a week or two by the time we get all the signatures and everything. Because how that happens is the agency would sign the MOU, send it to NASMA, and then it gets reviewed by the executive director and the board president. And usually I let the co-chairs know for the weed-free products committee, just so everybody's on board. And then we sign it and send it back. So it really is kind of more so dependent on your state agency and what that has to go through to get it approved.
And have you found one process is better than the other, like us sharing it between multiple state agencies or all across multiple counties, or?
So again, that kind of really varies state to state. It seems like, so still like in Idaho, I'm going to use them for an example. So their forage is statewide, but they still have, their county people who go and do those inspections. Where Andrea is in Nevada, she kind of covers the entire state. So again, it kind of varies, but so one state can cover multiple counties or all the counties in a state, but we can't do multiple states under one MOU. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
I will say it seems like counties can get MOUs signed faster than state agencies. I don't know, just that there's less kind of red tape to go through or not, but that does seem to be a quicker process for us. And it's something too, say New York, a couple counties sign on, but then it gets to be a really big program and then the state wants to take it over. That can absolutely happen. That the other MOUs would just dissolve and then it would just go into being a state agency. Sarah? Oh.
Sarah, go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't realize that I wasn't unmuted. Talking to myself. Thanks, John. Just kind of piggybacking off of Naya's question. So if a state agency or multiple state agencies were to sign the MOU, what would be the responsibility of those agencies in terms of I don't know, getting started and interacting with contractors and
So
the providers of the film, what?
So as we mentioned, so it's a voluntary program. But that's where we're hoping some of these new tools and this marketing stuff that we've come out with will help you guys be able to market it better to these private sectors and things like that, to give them, the benefits and let them know, hey, these are being requested on more job sites and things like that. Kind of just educate the producers on this topic. I kind of lost my train of thought there. Okay. What else did you ask before that? Oh, if there was multiple. So are you talking about multiple state agencies, in New York, say 2 or 3 agencies wanted to come together in support an MOU?
Right. Yeah. Just kind of thinking about Naya works for one state agency and I work for another. So I think we're
so that
just
is
kind of trying to, think how this process would work if it were to happen in New York. So I was just trying to think from the ground up, if we were to get started, what?
So I guess that question's never really come up that 2 would work together, but I don't see why that would necessarily be an issue. We've had it, like I said, where one agency will do forage and the other one would do gravel, but none that have actually kind of signed an MOU together. Definitely something that we could work with you on. The interesting thing would, I guess, yeah, if you would split the cost of it, then somebody would pay $50, or every other year somebody would pay the 100, not sure how you would have to probably work that out between yourselves and how that would work, but responsibilities would stay the same. Anybody, any inspectors who sign up under your MOU, you're going to be in charge of them and making sure that the inspections are being done to the minimum standards, that they're getting out of their truck, actually doing the visual inspection, all that kind of stuff. So NASMA provides the standards and the training portal, but because we're spread out, we're all from different areas, we need that MOU holder to be kind of that on the ground person in charge of everything that's happening.
Okay. Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Jody, you had mentioned though that in some states there's the MOU holder and then maybe like a county agency would supply the inspectors and they would be working under the state MOU.
Correct.
Couldn't that be similar with multiple state agencies providing inspectors? One state agency would hold the MOU.
Yes, and then other state agencies could work under them. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so there'd be like a lead agency. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, I guess that would maybe be the best way to go about it. I was thinking that you were going to need to asking to go together on the MOU, but yeah, so there would probably most likely be a lead agency, and then you can designate anybody to work under that MOU for you.
Great. Okay, thanks. That helps.
Other questions? If anyone has questions, they can unmute themselves. You're also welcome to enter a question into the chat if you're unable to, if you don't have audio, don't want to unmute yourself.
I have a question for the state agencies that are on this call. So as I mentioned earlier, this is something that CRISP has been pursuing through our working group for the last few years, and we're hoping to take strides over this next few months here and really push to get something started in an individual county. We wouldn't want to progress this too much if a state agency was interested in doing that for the whole state. So is there interest? Should we talk more offline about the potential for a state agency to get involved with this process?
Yeah, Meredith, I can talk to Josh and Justin and see if they're happy for me to take on the role or not. But I think it's interesting. It's certainly seamless. Like there's a need, and I would be happy to, if I'm given the okay to work on it, to coordinate.
That'd be great, Naya.
So I would just reach out. I guess, Meredith, I'd just start with you because if you've already been working on it, you have the contacts of other people who are interested in working on it.
Yeah, I mean, we have a small group that we've put together, and you could reach out through John or directly.
Okay.
We can all get in touch.
Yeah, so I'll try to talk to them next week and give you a report. And somebody has Jody's contact info because the slide isn't up anymore. So, yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, Meredith, I had already drafted an email to you while we were talking.
Okay.
I was like, what is this working group? Yeah, I'll talk to Matt and the higher ups in the division. I'm not sure that if Parks were to do something that I would be the lead. I don't know. But I'll see. I'm definitely interested. We can talk more about this. Yeah.
Perfect.
Soon.
Great. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Well, that might be a good place to leave it. That's great. Really happy to hear that. unless there's any other questions, then somebody wants to jump in, then I could thank Jody and also Andrea and Bill for their input on this conversation. Hopefully we'll continue to build on it, and we really appreciate what you're doing at NASMA. Thank you so much, Jody, for this presentation.
Thank you for having us. And like I said, I'll follow up with a few of those documents and everything for you. And then I am going to enter my email in the chat too, if anybody is interested in that. So,
oh, great idea. Yeah,
all right.
that's excellent. I'll see if I can reshare.
Thank you. And when was the toolkit information going to get posted?
So that will be out to the, to everybody by June. But if you're interested in any of that stuff, like I can definitely share the model legal framework with John too, that will be included in some of that. So
thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I can share things through our email list. If you're not on the email list, just send me an email and I can add you to that list just to make sure you get that information. So thanks again, Jody, and getting back to the agenda, our next item is Meredith. I think Meredith was going to give this updates on other CRISP working groups.
Sure, I have my notes right here. So we have, as we mentioned earlier, a number of working groups that meet during the non-field season. So they're pretty much wrapping up for this winter season. But we have some updates. So we have a working group that is focused on success stories. And so over the last 2 years, we've come up with a plan to develop and produce quarterly profiles, essentially, of folks and projects that show some sort of success within the field of invasive species in the Catskills. We did one last year profiling the anglers who discovered the fishhook water flea and reported it in Papacton reservoirs. That was to highlight the role of individual reporters for early detection and rapid response. This year, we're working on stories to feature the project that is looking for the lingering ash, the MAMA project, as well as the development of biological control for purple loosestrife. So look out for those profiles coming up. They'll be posted widely on the website and social media. We just wanted to create a mechanism to really highlight these stories that counter the narrative that we're not making any progress and we're losing ground on invasive species. So we wanted to give people a good reason to stick with it and to get involved in our efforts. So I think we're making some good progress there. And if you have any ideas for success stories that you think should be highlighted, please reach out, or if you would like to join our working group, feel free, and you can write a profile. We have a template now that you can use to create those. Another working group we have is working on managing invasive annuals. So again, this was a group that came out of a need that we saw that was identified through the strategic planning process to have best management practices for Japanese silkgrass and Mila minute vine were the two species that were of particular interest for folks. And so this group decided through our discussions that we wanted to see some field trial experiments that could get into developing more academically sound research that would guide best management practices for landowners. And really exciting news to report on this one. We worked with the Catskill Science Collaborative. DEP funded a fellowship for a graduate student at Cornell who is working with a professor there, as well as our land management team here at DEP, to do a field trial experiment at a restoration site that we had where we had a large Mila minute infestation. And so there are plots with 4 replications on a variety of treatment methods that they will be experimenting with. And we are working really closely to track all expenses related to the treatment. So time, chemical products, labor, all of that. So we're factoring in cost, efficacy for developing best management practices. And so this will be published research, and we will be working to develop a BMP guide for land managers for mile a minute, which is really exciting. And we also have a working group working on forest regeneration. We're working on developing a story map for that group, highlighting different projects that integrate invasive species management and deer exclusion, as well as other practices to encourage forest regeneration in different areas. So the story map will highlight demonstration projects throughout the region, giving more information about them and contact information so that land managers throughout the region can connect and talk about different projects that are successful to share ideas. And we just had a nice field trip last week. John and I and some other folks from Catskill Center and DEP went out to look at a demonstration project where mugwort was being managed in a riparian floodplain area. It was really cool and exciting, and it'd be great to highlight more projects like that to help people learn about what's happening in the region. We're also looking into creating some social media content to highlight new and innovative strategies for promoting forest regeneration. So if you're into forest regeneration and invasive species, feel free to reach out about that group as well. Two more, so bear with me.
Yeah, I could just add, so we have Tom Folkrod coming up for the Ashokan Rail Trail. We'll be talking about forest regeneration there, and the impacts of deer and things like that. So if anyone wants to come out on that, I think it's maybe April 11th. I don't have that in front of me, but it'll be soon posted on our CRISP website under events. Sorry, Meredith.
That's okay. One of the projects that we will definitely be highlighting was Tom Folkrod's project to do a demonstration on slash wall development for forest regeneration. So that project is about to start.
Great.
So yeah, that's really exciting too. We got a lot going on. So the next working group to highlight is we had an internships working group. So over the last couple of years, we've been working to develop a database for internship opportunities that can be promoted through CRISP. So if anyone is hiring interns for either the summer season or year-round, there are opportunities to connect with different local colleges and universities through John and Sammy through the Catskill Center to act as a way to create those connections and promote those positions. And we've also been working on this early career networking event, which will be on the 17th of July. So that's really exciting. We had one last year and it was a pretty big success, and we're hoping to build on that and improve it this year and make it even better. So very exciting.
And I can add, if anyone does have seasonal positions available, internships for the summer, Sarah Coney set up on our website. We have a webpage that's devoted to as kind of a clearinghouse to advertise those. So you could send to me any opportunities you have, or Sarah Coney, and then we can get them posted.
And if you do have seasonals or interns, be sure to make sure they can come on the 17th and check it out. We would love that. And we hope you all come for the partners meeting and stick around to help them with their networking skills. And we really appreciate it. The last group is the working with local governments group. And so we met over the last 2 years to strategize on the best ways to connect with local governments on invasive species prevention. So we've been focusing in on working with planning boards, because that is a local government body that has continuing education requirements, and that seemed like a good way to get in. So we have been working on developing a brochure that would have information for planning boards to incorporate invasive species prevention into project reviews, and we're hoping to take that brochure and create sort of a traveling roadshow training on that information, particularly highlighting the importance of IMAP invasives and IMAP as a tool for local governments to use. And we have been invited to provide a lunch and learn 1-hour webinar through the New York Planning Federation with that information. So we're trying to get that all together and get that out to help promote prevention strategies in local governments. I don't know, John, do you want to share a draft?
Yeah, I just found it.
I didn't know if it was ready for
I think so. If you're
public
comfortable with
viewing.
sharing it, then I
Yeah,
can
go
see if
for
I
it.
can find it right here.
Can
you see it?
Yep. Catskill Center communications staff did a great job formatting this. We have connected with nyis.info to be able to post links and more information on their website. And we'll be turning some more attention to getting this out there a little bit more now that the brochure has been finalized here.
Yeah, and I can add to that too. Like, we're hopeful to do some workshops with planning boards. So if anybody's on a planning board or has connections with a local planning board, we'd be happy to talk to them about incorporating invasive species prevention into their project reviews. So just let me know if you have any leads of planning boards. I'd be happy to do that.
And to give Jody and the NASMA folks a shout out, we do have a section in here that is sending them to the Work Clean Go NASMA webpage and sharing those recommendations through this as well. And hopefully someday we can update this to include Certified Weed Free Product Program.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be great. And I think this is a really good, important step to helping to reduce invasive species spread in construction projects also.
Definitely.
Yeah, so a lot happening. Our working groups have made a lot of progress over the last couple of years. I think, John, do you envision that we'll continue with these working groups at least for another year and then maybe regroup and determine where the priorities are again?
Yeah, I think all the groups that you mentioned have projects underway and there's plenty of work to do. And as you mentioned, we could use help on some of the working groups, I think. And so if anyone's interested, just let us know.
Leadership roles available.
Yeah, Meredith is chairing, I think you're chairing all of the working groups. So it would be great if somebody wants to be involved and then take over scheduling meetings and things like that. Would be really awesome.
Huge.
I'll stop sharing
Thanks,
this.
John.
Yeah, thanks, Meredith. Do you have anything else, or
I think
I guess
that's
you
it for
covered all the
now.
working groups.
Those are the ones with momentum happening right now. We have some others that are sort of taking a back burner right now as we advance these, but that's okay.
Definitely. So next on the agenda, we have partner updates and announcements. Since you're visible, Meredith, do you have something? Did you want to start?
Sure. I mentioned we have slash wall construction kind of imminent. It's unclear the exact timeline just because of so many factors that influence the loggers' ability to get them installed. But we're going to work on really carefully documenting that, and hopefully we'll be able to feature that project as we do our forest regeneration work in the future. We are in the final stages right now of recruiting our summer intern team. So we're going to be hiring 4 to 5 seasonal interns. This final recruitment session was happening on campus at SUNY Ulster as this meeting was happening. So we'll be moving into the resume review and hiring process coming up. We are also gearing up for some invasive species treatments, working to do our early detection, rapid response efforts throughout the region. Species that are tier 2 in CRISP include chocolate vine and princess tree. So those are kind of ongoing eradication efforts that we have at the Ashokan Reservoir. So we'll be working on those this year again. And other new and exciting updates are we're going to be working on doing a root weevil biocontrol release for purple loosestrife, the hylobius. And shout out to Sarah Travaglio for connecting us with that. So we're really excited to get another biocontrol agent on the landscape this year. Thanks.
Great. Good work. I know that Tanya from the Waterfall Center had some announcements she wanted to make, I think, and did you want to share a slide? Tanya, you're there somewhere? Actually, I'm not seeing her. Tanya, are you there?
Oh, she said she needs 5 minutes. She's driving.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I can't see the chat at the same time. Anyone else have any other updates?
Hey, John, I would do a quick update if anybody doesn't mind.
Oh, yeah, sure. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks. First off, I'd like to say thank you for funding us for this year. We're really looking forward to getting started.
Congratulations. We're happy to
thank
work
you.
with you again.
And on that note, I would say we are hiring for 2 part-time positions for the summer, primarily doing invasive species removal. And I know I shared the posting. I passed it on. I know we're on your list there, but I don't know if it's something you want to, it would be able to go out on the list serve or not, or anything, but it's also available up on our website, occainfo.org. So if you know people, and I hear you guys had a lot of great candidates, so if anyone who's good who you couldn't hire, feel free to send them our way. That
Yeah,
was
I
one of
think we
them.
had over, sorry to interrupt you, but I
Yeah,
think we
that's all
had
right.
well over 50 candidates for the strike team. I know last year we had 35, so we're we're way
That's
over
great.
that.
That is
There's a
very good.
lot of maybe it doesn't bode well for the economy and what the situation of folks is, but yeah, there was a lot of
Yep.
interest in our seasonal position. But
Yeah.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Jeff.
And oh no, that's quite all right. And yes, we are definitely looking forward to Yellow Floating Heart fun. We're making good progress there though. I'd also add that we did this winter we did a push locally to try to get more people out in the field doing searching for hemlock woolly adelgid, which is here, but I think somewhat underreported in Otsego County. We did a small Hemlock Palooza event, we called it, where we got a bunch of people out at Gilbert Lake State Park and we went over Adelgid and we had a big group survey. And we even managed to get I think it was 4 or 5 people who did independent surveys and reported, and actually also reported they're not detected, which is a big step because a
Great.
lot of times people just say, oh, yeah, we didn't see it, and they never report it. So we were happy with that. And then we were also pleased and somewhat surprised to receive some Laricobius beetles from the Hemlock Initiative that we released out in Cooperstown last week. So we're really hopeful that
Oh, great.
that will help. So yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Anyone else?
I think I can jump in now if everyone can hear me.
Oh, yeah, you're a little broken up, Tanya, but I can hear you.
This is Tanya.
Yeah, go ahead, Tanya.
I'll just do a very quick. I'm so sorry I had to travel during meeting.
Yeah, Tanya,
Okay, great. So
you're a little broken up. Oh, you're a little better now.
I just wanted to share that affecting our region is the Constitution pipeline project that
Tanya, if you can hear me.
have made it to your ears or not. This is obviously a big concern for invasive because it is due to
Tanya? Tanya, you keep breaking up. There are times when I can hear you, but there are times where you're completely garbled. I don't know if you can get to a better spot. Are you still there? I don't see you anymore.
Yeah, it looks like she had to drop off.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know when we can get Tanya again. Did anyone else have any other updates that has audio or want to enter anything in the chat? Oh, I see, Amy, Griffin, you had a question about Autumn Olive. You could, if you want to put your email address in the chat, we could get back to you about that. Amy Griffin. And then Jody also, I don't know if people noticed, but Jody had put her email address in the chat for folks that wanted to reach out to her. Oh, thanks, Amy. Other updates? Comments? Suggestions? And I don't see that Tanya came back. So maybe there's information that we could share through the listserv and through my email list. Does anyone else have anything else that they would like to add to today's meeting? You could unmute yourself. If not, then I would just repeat. So as both Meredith and I had mentioned, we were talking about oh, Jeff, you wanted to add, you want me to just read this or you want to unmute yourself?
It kind of speaks for itself, but yeah, we're
okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, so Jeff entered in the chat. OCCA is holding their annual Earth Festival on May 9th at SUNY Oneonta. So they have information on their website. So please take a look at that. Yeah, so it's just getting to our next meeting, what we were planning. It was going to be on the same day as the early career development workshop, that we would have a partners meeting in the morning, and perhaps we could focus on opportunities that folks could have seasonally to work in any of our organizations. And we could do some networking between that partners meeting and when the early career development workshop starts in the afternoon. So again, that's July 17th, and we're planning to hold that at the Catskill Visitor Center in Mount Tremper. So hold that date. Keep your eyes open for us to announce that on events, and we'll put it out on the listserv and on our email list. Unless anyone has said anything else, then again, I'd like to thank Jody and the folks from the Certified Weed Management Program for the presentation today, the great discussion that we have. Thanks everybody that contributed to that discussion. It's really exciting that we have state agencies that were here, and we're able to ask questions and comment on it, that would be great if we could get something going in New York State, and we're more than happy to assist with that and contribute to it as much as we can. So unless anyone has anything else last second, then I'll let you go. Again, thanks for the great presentation, the great conversation today. It's been a great meeting, and look forward to seeing you in person, hopefully next time at our next CRIS Partners meeting. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, Meredith.
Bye.
See you.